Hello, everyone. This is Ashley, your Mrs. America virtuous woman, and I am here with horror stories for Halloween time. So, fun fact, usually in October, I change my hair color to green. So I may not have it for long, but at least one part of October, I get to wear green and be happy about it. So grab your popcorn, and we're about to get started on our horror stories. Live reaction. You're seeing everything the same time I'm seeing it. So
there's huge conspiracy theories about the Denver airport. It's huge. There's giant bunkers for like the end of the world for the elite to come and stay safe after everybody else dies. There's a giant horse statue, and people say it symbolizes the apocalypse and the end of the world because it has bright red glowing eyes. The artist that designed it, during the construction of the horse, a piece of the horse fell off, landed on him, cut his leg off, and he bled to death. And so people say this thing is obviously evil because even the guy who constructed it died from it.
And that makes it evil because of something that happened at work. Not really that scary to me, but okay, nice to know, Denver.
Haunted Places in Every U.S. State, Part 17, Kentucky. The Goat Man of Pope Lick. There's no clear consensus on how the Goat Man came to be. Some say he was a circus performer. Others say he was a farmer who tortured his goats for Satan and in return was transformed.
Do he not look like just a man with a really bad mask on?
Formed into a hideous goat monster. However, everyone does agree on his appearance. Dark fur, pale skin, goat legs, and horns. The monster is said to hide under the bridge at Pope Lick Creek in Louisville to lure people onto the tracks, only to see them hit by oncoming trains.
From the one we just saw.
Sadly, this urban legend has had some dangerous consequences.
I'm gonna call it.
In 2016, an Ohio woman fell to her death from the bridge while looking for the Goat Man. Well, the official story is that she fell. Some believe that she did successfully find the Goat Man and then was thrown off by him.
But if she got thrown off, how do they know that she actually found him? And if there was evidence, wouldn't it have came out by now?
Can you do the one where the bride gets trapped in a chest? I know exactly which one you're talking about. It's called The Bride. This was a very popular one. So the story goes like there was a couple who had just gotten married, and during their wedding reception, they were having lots of fun, dancing, singing, and even playing games and contests. One of the games that they decided to play was hide and seek. The bride went up to the attic and was looking for a place to hide when she came across a giant chest. She opened the chest and climbed in, thinking nobody would ever find her in there, and that when they went up to the attic to look for her, she could pop out and scare them. Well, right after she had climbed into the chest, the top had slammed down and hit her in the head, knocking her unconscious. As she fell inside the trunk, the lid then slammed closed and locked. Everybody was looking for her, but nobody looked inside the trunk. After a while, they started searching elsewhere, searching all over the wedding venue and even all across town. Nobody knows how long she was banging on the trunk after she had come out of her unconscious state. But still, she was all the way in the attic and nobody could hear her. After a while of searching for her, all of her friends and family decided that she was gone and that they would just stop looking for her. Nobody ever knew what happened to her except for one day, a maid was looking for something in the house where the wedding venue had taken place. She went up into the attic searching for this item and thought maybe it's in the trunk. So she opened the trunk, and to her horror, the corpse of the bride was in the trunk, withered away to only a skeleton, wearing her wedding dress.
This town is so haunted they had to permanently close it to the public. This is Dudleytown, Connecticut. Dudleytown, Connecticut is a haunted, abandoned town in Cornwall, Connecticut, and has a creepy history. Visitors who have explored there say that once they enter, it's otherworldly in there. Creepy. First of all, it's reportedly completely silent. You can't hear birds, animals, bugs, nothing. A researcher compared entering the heart of Dudleytown to standing inside a recording studio booth. Another common complaint from visitors is that a lot of the photos they take in Dudleytown won't develop, but as soon as they leave, their cameras will work just fine. Which makes sense, as I had a really hard time finding really any photos of Dudleytown when I was researching. The creepy legend of the town is years ago, the Dudley family fled to the U.S. after one of their family members was taken care of after plotting against King Henry VIII. They settled in Connecticut and the bad luck followed. Residents of Dudleytown began suffering a series of devastating crop failures and mental illness was rampant in the village. There were countless mysterious disappearances within the village and all-around chaos overwhelmed Dudleytown. By the early 1900s, it was completely abandoned. For fans of the Conjuring films based on paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the two visited Dudleytown and outright declared that it was extremely haunted and controlled by something terrifying. Investigators agreed that Dudleytown is some kind of a portal. But here's where it goes from spooky to downright bizarre. The owners, the Dark Entry Forest Association, closed Dudleytown to the public and don't do anything to dispel the rumors. In fact, they refuse to be interviewed for the most part, and the owners go to great lengths to conceal their identities. On top of that, if you are caught trespassing in Dudleytown, you will be heavily prosecuted. This is so strange to me. We see so many other ghost towns around the world, and usually they keep these places open for tourism. You know, profit off the history and the spookiness. But for some reason, this association wants to keep people out of Dudleytown altogether. A paranormal researcher said there's some kind of secret that they are keeping there, and they want people to stay out. What are your thoughts? This has been requested a couple times. Has anyone ever been? Or are there any towns by you that you find to be really creepy?
Okay, I could see me doing ghost town stories coming up next. Like that's insane. Okay.
True scary stories in 60 seconds or less. This story comes from a Reddit user about the night that changed her life forever. In a rare occurrence, this girl's whole family was going out for the night. Her mother was going out, her sister wasn't coming home, she had the entire house to herself. So she just decided to curl up in her bedroom, have a cozy night in, and watch a Netflix series. But not even 30 minutes in, she suddenly heard noises coming from downstairs in her kitchen. The faint sound of an unknown man laughing to himself from downstairs. She was paralyzed with fear because she remembered she left her cell phone on the downstairs counter, but she also knew if she emailed 911, eventually somebody would come. She waited for 7 agonizing minutes until police eventually come, and there is an eruption of screams and wrestling from the kitchen. When they found her and brought her downstairs, she was told to close her eyes, as she later learned in horror that the man who had been in her kitchen had her mother spread out on the floor in pieces.
Oh, this story will give you the chills.
What?
This is the night shift. In her 20s, a girl named Zoe worked at her town's office max. She was attending the local community college and needed some extra money to cover her classes. She picked up a lot of the later shifts so she could attend school during the day. One night, Zoe worked her usual 5 to 9 p.m. shift. Her manager left around 8 and it was a pretty slow night. She sat at the front desk doing some homework and looked up to see there was only one other person in the store. A man, looked to be in his 40s, wandering around some of the back aisles. Zoe didn't even see him come in, but watched him as he slowly sauntered around the store. She also noticed the man didn't have a cart and was staring at her through the aisles. She continued to do her homework and figured he would eventually leave. A few minutes passed and she looked back up and the man was nowhere to be found. She leaned over to the desk and yelled out, "Do you need help finding anything, sir?" No response. Besides a little background jazz music, the store was eerily quiet. A few more minutes passed, then suddenly, the lights shut off at once. It was completely dark. Zoe jumped up and grabbed a flashlight from under the desk. Starting to get really nervous, she wandered slowly through the store back to where the breaker box was. As she walked through the aisles, she still couldn't find that man anywhere. She got to the box and started flicking on every switch, but the lights weren't coming back on. She texted her manager, but he wasn't responding, so she had no clue what to do. Suddenly, she heard the sound of the bathroom door swing. At this point, Zoe was just gonna lock up and leave, but she couldn't with this man still in the store. She didn't want to, but slowly walked over to the bathroom door, swung it open and said, "Sir, I need to close up the store." There was no response. It was then she shined her flashlight down the bathroom and saw the man's eyes peering at her through the stall. Zoe swung the door shut, ran as fast as she could to grab her stuff, and immediately bolted out the front door, where she hopped in her car and called the police. Cops got to the store and walked through, but said that man was gone, must have left through the back exit. They said he also must have done something to cut the power. The next day, Zoe went back to the store to let her boss know what happened, but the strange thing was, they looked back at the security footage from the night before, and that man wasn't anywhere on the tapes. And the manager said the power was working just fine. But Zoe knew what she saw that night. That man was there, watching her. But what did he want? As someone who used to work the night shift at a gym, it can get kind of creepy. But what about you? Have you ever had some weird things happen on the late shift?
Never worked a late shift. Wow. That was pretty creepy. Thank you for watching. Leave a topic or story that you would like share to anchor.fm/globepremies/message and on Instagram at globepremiesfounder. Thank you for being here for Halloween Storytime. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.